Right now, 37 states across the nation allow medical marijuana.
Right, and there are some in the state Senate who want to change that. 38 states by legalizing medical marijuana in North Carolina. The Compassionate Care Act has cleared a key committee in the Senate, but it is still a long way from becoming law. What it would do is it allow the state to issue up to 10 licenses to suppliers who could each set up a maximum of 8 medical cannabis centers. And that would mean there would be no more than 80 stores across the entire state. Now, it's not totally clear yet what it would take to qualify for medical cannabis, but there is a card that you would have to carry around to buy the medical marijuana or in case law enforcement would stop you.
It is hard to tell exactly how the public in North Carolina feels about this. There's been really no recent polls from trusted sources. In fact, the last one I could find was from 2 years ago. Back then, an Elon poll found 73% of adults in our state support the legalization of marijuana for medical use. Going a step further, 54% support the full legalization of marijuana for recreational use. So, what are the possibilities of that ever happening in our state? Well, my political scientist sources say the closest we'll probably ever get to that in this political climate is what Roy Cooper and Attorney General Josh Stein have called for in the past: decriminalizing marijuana possession. The two made the recommendation after a special task force they said that they wanted to create to help reduce racial inequalities in our justice system. According to the task force, decriminalizing marijuana would mean replacing a misdemeanor charge for possessing up to 1.5 ounces with a civil offense. That's kind of like a traffic ticket instead. They say that is a small amount of weed. According to the cannabis website Leafly, here's what 1.5 ounces actually looks like. For people who've never tried it, it's hard to know how many times someone could get high with that. So we crunched the numbers. It is 1.5 ounces equaling 84 small joints. Some leading Republicans in our state said that is not a small amount, and they argued the laws are already pretty lax for a first-time offender. Again, right now, having up to 1.5 ounces is a misdemeanor. Defendants with less than 0.05 ounces, about one small joint, could face up to $200 in fines and 30 days in jail. 0.05 to 1.5 ounces is a $1,000 fine and up to 45 days in jail. That is for a first-time offender. Repeat offenders could get bumped up to a felony, meaning 1 full year in jail. All that said, there is a legal form of THC for sale right here in the Triad right now. It is a different strain of the plant and has a different strength, according to the experts. Let's dig into what is Delta 8. In North Carolina, Delta 8 THC from the hemp plant is legal. Delta 9 THC from marijuana plants, the traditional version of pot, is not. That's because of the 2018 Farm Bill signed by former President Donald Trump. It changed the list of Schedule 1 illegal drugs by removing hemp plants with less than 0.3% THC. To see how Delta 8 and Delta 9 compare, we found someone who lives in Colorado, where weed is legal.
THC Delta 8, THC Delta 9 are, think of them as cousins.
Stephen Bernard has tried both versions after being in the cannabis industry for 15 years. He's such a believer in Delta 8, he runs a Facebook group called Delta 8 Life, where you can track developments about Delta 8 from all across the country.
The experience with Delta 8 is a little more pain numbing, kind of relaxing, more of a physical feeling than a mental feeling. With Delta 9, it's much more cerebral. Delta 9 is going to hit harder than Delta 8.
Like how much harder?
Depending on the person, 25 to 50%. You can walk around your house, you can cook, you can clean. I wouldn't, advise motor vehicles or anything. It's not as impairing.
Can it make you feel sick?
It depends on how your body reacts to it. Some people, it's just going to make them go to sleep. Some people are going to just, sit on the couch and eat all day. Some people are going to feel like they need to go to the emergency room.
Atrium Health Wake Forest Baptist Aylin Hallett
This is an image of a cannabinoid receptor on a neuron.
discovered the part of the brain that's triggered by cannabis. Ever since then, she's been researching the drug's impact on the body to see how pharmaceutical companies could use it.
Both delta-9 THC and delta-8 THC work at that same receptor. The only difference is that the delta-9 is a little bit more potent. That means you need to take less of that drug than you would take of delta-8 to get exactly the same response.
She says delta-8 and 9 is not even like comparing apples and oranges. It's more like a red apple versus a green apple. In fact, when you look at the molecular makeup of delta-8 and delta-9,
You would see a double bond going in one direction, and delta-8 has the double bond going in another direction. But the rest of the molecule is absolutely identical.
the only real difference, one is for sale legally in the triad, the other could land you in jail.